Hello, my name is Gus, but you can call me BATGUS, and we are back with our Batman the Animated Series commentary. The episode of today, it's called It's Never Too Late. A very interesting episode that is in the list of the most dramatic episodes of the series, and one that is amongst the most serious in tone. So let's go. If you want to watch the episode with me, I will do a countdown so you can start the episode in your box set, DVD box set, or your streaming service, and we can watch it together, okay? So let's do a countdown in 3, 2, 1, let's go. The Warner Bros. Logo is on the screen, and here we go. So like I said, this is a great episode. I really love this one because it is an episode that is so serious in tone that is one of those that you ask yourself, how can an animations network give it a green light to produce an episode like this one that is just not for kids, because it tackles some very serious themes like drugs and criminal gangs and criminality in Gotham. We are dealing with gangsters in this episode, so it's gonna be one that has the character Rupert Thorne back. By the way, we just had an episode with Rupert Thorne in the last one called in the last one that was the two-parter, Two-Face, right? And it's kind of odd that he's back for this one as well, but there you go. So we start the episode with these kids playing in the streets, and one of the kids throws a ball in front of a gate of a mansion, and this mansion belongs to a criminal lord called Stromwell, which is the kind of Godfather style mob boss, right, in the animation. And he's watching some news on TV where Commissioner Gordon is talking about how much the violence is increasing Gotham City. Then the news reporter also talks about the idea that his son, the son of this mob boss, Stromwell, has disappeared recently, and there hasn't been any news about the guy. So Stromwell is actually very worried about his son. He's talking to his employees, which is the other guys of the gang, and he mentions that he's pretty sure that Rupert Thorne, the other mob boss, has something to do with that. So we cut to a restaurant where we have Rupert Thorne and his gang on the restaurant, probably an Italian restaurant, right? But inside the restaurant, we have this homeless guy, or this drunk guy on the table, that Thorne gives a signal to the waiter to take this guy out of the restaurant because they're gonna talk about business, right? So once the waiter takes the guy out of the restaurant, it is revealed that this drunk guy was actually Bruce Wayne in disguise, and before he was taken out, he put this radio transmitter that will record all the conversations inside the restaurant, so he can listen to what is going on, and in terms of the dealings between the gangs. And apparently Stromwell set a date with Thorn, a meeting with Thorn, to discuss the whole idea of his son disappearance. And during his way to the restaurant, Stromwell is going in his limo to the restaurant, guarded by his other gang members, his goons. And during the way, he stops at a intersection of a rail track where a train passes by, and he has this flashback of his childhood where he and another boy, are playing on the tracks, and they are, they are betting against each other who stay on the tracks longer before jumping out of the way of a train coming. And then one of the boys gets his leg trapped on the rail track. Actually, the boy who gets the leg trapped is him in the childhood. And then the flashback cuts and we don't see what happened next. So it's an interesting plot that is set on this episode that will be developed later. Then we have a very interesting scene, a very gothic and great scene where Batman is on top of a church, a cathedral, right? Besides some images of gargoyles. So it's a very dark and gothic shot. Beautiful shot. And he enters the cathedral to talk with a priest inside. And he actually warns the priest that it's going to be tonight. Something is going to happen tonight. And the priest must be aware that he needs to help a soul today. That is probably the soul of Arnold Stromwell. We don't know the relation of the priest with Stromwell, but Batman is there to warn him. And there is a very beautiful line where the priest talks about giving up on Stromwell, and Batman says, "I don't think you can give up on anybody, Father," which is a very beautiful line. Anyway, we have now the meeting between Stromwell and Rupert Thorne. It's a very classic mob bosses meeting. Thorne orders his men to leave the restaurants, and Stromwell does the same. So the two mob bosses are alone in the restaurant. Then Stromwell confronts Thorne about the son's disappearance, because he really believes that was something that Thorne did. He kidnapped his son. But Thorne swears that he has nothing to do with that. He doesn't mess with family. This is not his deal. So Stromwell calms down. But in the end, this is all going to be a trap. Thorne actually relieves Stromwell in order to trap him. And there's actually a bomb inside the restaurant where Thorne he leaves the room with Stromwell inside. The lights are shut, and the men of Thorne leave the restaurant, and the bomb explodes inside. But what Thorne didn't know is that this trap didn't work, because inside the restaurant Batman was there as well, so he saved Stromwell in the last moments before the explosion. So it's a very classic criminal dealings, right, for a cartoon kids show. And once again, this is one of the episodes that as a kid I didn't care too much because it wasn't about a big villain, or it wasn't about one of those more kid adventure episodes, right? It's a very serious episode in tone, so it's not the kind of episode that we as a kid will thoroughly enjoy. But here, as an adult now, I can look at this episode and just see the depth of the story and how beautiful it is, the idea that the main core of the episode is Batman again acting not just with his fists or his justice core of value, but he's acting with his heart and trying to show the mob boss Stromwell in the case that the consequences of his criminal activities. And this is the core of the episode. This is what the whole thing is gonna deal with. We've seen Batman taking Stromwell and jumping with him from some rooftops after he saved him from the restaurant, and he's going to take him to see something. And then we have a very funny scene. It has nothing to do with the episode itself, but once the police arrives at the fire in the restaurant, Commissioner Gordon is talking to some fire guys, and Bullock is beside him, and he actually comments on Commissioner's hair, saying, "Your hair is different today." And he almost puts his hands on the hair of Gordon, which Gordon is quick to wave his hand out of the way. But anyway, just a small comedy moment. Then we go to one of the homeless people on the street saw that Batman took Stromwell out of the restaurant before the explosion, and Thorne's goons hear this because they are also in the scene of the fire, and they warn Rupert Thorne that Stromwell is still alive. Then we have Batman talking with Stromwell on top of a building, and he's going to take him. Batman is going to take Stromwell to see something, which we don't know yet what it is. And he comes down on a rope with the old man. And Stromwell gets very angry about this whole acrobatics that Batman does with him. Then Batman accuses Stromwell of all the drugs that are spreading in Gotham City that are all consequence of his criminal actions. He's the one who is producing these drugs, and he takes Stromwell to a foundation building that is the Center of Rehabilitation Against Drugs. The Center of Rehabilitation for Drug Addicts, right? For drug addicts. So Stromwell doesn't know why he's there, but Batman insists that he enters. And when he enters in one of the bedrooms of the foundation, he sees his son on a bed after almost having, which is probably an overdose, right? And he's recovering from an overdose on a bed, and his wife is there, Stromwell's wife, and this is where he realizes that his son was not kidnapped. His son was a victim of his own actions, which is just a great plot point. So Thorn wasn't really the one, who committed some criminal activity against his son. His son was there all the time. He was just victim of the whole chaos of drugs spreading in Gotham. And there is a very good line where Stromwell says, "I'm gonna get the guy who put drugs on the way of my son." And his wife says, "So look in the mirror." That's a great line. And Batman demands Stromwell to come clean to the police and deliver some files about the whole organization's profits with the drug trafficking in the city. Stromwell takes him to another building where he gives him these files, but then Stromwell also betrays Batman. He gets a gun and points to the Batman. And this is when both are attacked by Rupert Thorne's gang. They throw some gas inside the room, and Batman is able to wear his gas mask so he can escape. But Stromwell becomes unconscious. And we're going to have this fight between Batman and all the goons of Rupert Thorne, where, again, there's no real... It's not a fantastic scene. It's not a fantastic fight. It's just a very rough mano-to-mano fight where the goons try to get both him and Stromwell, and he gets them one at a time using his skills in the dark. It's very, very realistic final fight in the climax. And the building that they are is beside the rail track that Stromwell had the whole flashback before, right? So this is gonna play out in the end of the episode, back into the plot. So even though it's not a huge action scene, it's basically gangsters against the Batman, and the whole fight takes place actually the whole fight develops out of the building into the rail tracks, and Batman uses the gaps between the trains to attack each member of the gang. Stromwell hides underneath the train. It's a very well geographically planned scene where everything is just very low key. Like I said, there's nothing fantastic in this action scene in the climax. So we have machine guns and guys shooting at Batman, and Batman using the gaps between the cars of the train to get them one at a time. Then we eventually have the Stromwell running over the rail tracks, and he stumbles into them. Then he meets the father, the priest that we saw early in the episode. He shows up there, and it is revealed that the two boys that Stromwell had a flashback in his remembering his childhood, they were brothers, and one of them is him and the other is the priest. So the priest is actually his brother, which is a great revelation. And the whole point of the rail track flashback is that when the train was coming to hit Stromwell, the little boy Stromwell, his brother saved him. He pushed him out of the way, and he ended up being hit by the train, which eventually left the man, the priest now, with a wooden leg. Right? He missed a leg in this accident, although he survived. And this became a trauma for Stromwell that he carries with him until today. That's why he has these flashbacks, which is having one right now again. And this is the final flashback where it is revealed that his brother saved him. Again, so deep, so incredible in terms of storytelling, the whole drama in this scene. I don't think, especially in this first season of Batman, the animated series, I don't think the next seasons of the show has reached such high levels. I'm Brazilian. I'm sorry for my mispronunciation sometimes. Such high levels of great drama in terms of adult themes, which is not a bad thing. I'm just saying that this whole plot of the gangster realizing his own bad deeds, and eventually in the end he's gonna come clean with the help of his own brother and Batman, and the idea of that he needs to save his son that was the ultimate victim of his actions. It's just too deep, right? Too really amazing for an animated series. In the end of the episode, we have Thorn almost shows up and kills both him and the priest, Stromwell and the priest, but Batman shows up in the final hour and saves them both, kicks Thorn's ass and saves them. Then the cops arrive, and Stromwell decides to come clean for the cops. And we have a final moment in the episode where Batman stands on top of a building watching the scene of Stromwell coming clean, and he looks in the horizon and sees the church, the cathedral in the horizon, which is also a beautiful, beautiful scene. And this is it. This is the end of the episode, one of the best ones on this show, in my opinion. I really love this episode, and truly one that deserves to be rewatched and remember as an example of how much this TV animated series is mature and adult and just beautiful in all the ways. All right? If you are liking this content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you in the next episode, and bye-bye.